keep getting email and keep
Not for-
unsubscribing.
Not for the school.
Welcome to the school committee meeting of October 30th, 2017. It's now 7 o'clock, and we are being recorded. Oh, excuse me, it's 6:30. I'm so used to it being 7. We are being recorded live and for future rebroadcast. If we could all stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We only have one item on the agenda this evening, and that is for the Town of Douglas Energy Reduction Plan. And I'm going to throw it over to Mr. Maines.
Okay. So last week, we received some information from the town of Douglas that they are preparing to engage in an energy reduction plan. Because of the involvement that the schools have within the town with the buildings and so forth, one of the requirements is that the school committee consider and vote, and also that the state receive a letter from us with regards to approving or the plan, as well as approving the fuel-efficient vehicle plan as well. And so when we went to Board of Selectmen last week, the timing was an issue, as our next scheduled school committee meeting is November 1, which is Wednesday. This needed to be completed and signed by October 31st, so it needs to be completed and turned in by tomorrow, or they would fall into the following year, so they would lose an entire year and subsequently another year for actual appropriation and beginning of the project. So we are fortunate tonight that Dominique Dutrumbull is here with us, and she is going to share some information on the plan, and then the goal would be for us to consider it and take a vote whether we would approve or disapprove the plan. And if we approve the plan, I have a letter that I will sign in your presence so that I can get it down to them tomorrow so that you'll have seen it. So Dominique, if you don't mind, you're welcome to join us up front. And
I just want to mention that Dominique is from the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission.
thank you.
Thank you so much for having me tonight. I really appreciate it. So my agency, the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission, serves the city of Worcester and the 39 surrounding municipalities. We are a quasi-governmental agency. There's 13 of us in the state. The energy reduction plan that we've completed is it's a strategy of how the town, including the schools, can reduce energy by 20%. Because the schools tend to be such large consumers of energy, the state does request that for these applications, the schools show a good faith commitment to participate. At least approximately half of the projects that the town has identified are for the schools. So there's a great opportunity to channel some of the town's funding into reducing the energy consumption here. It is non-binding, but it's a pretty solid plan. Includes the high school, which is really a very, very important target. It's the largest user of energy, almost by twice as much as any other facility, including the other schools. So, let's see. So by passing this plan, the town will be eligible for Green Communities designation, which will result in approximately $150,000 the first year. And then they will be eligible for up to $250,000 for the subsequent 4 years. Those funds are technically competitive, but it's really just based on submitting a strong cost-benefit analysis. So it's a really great opportunity to be able to lower the town's overall energy consumption, fossil fuel use, and cost.
So by submitting the plan, we're eligible for, $150 the first year?
Yes.
200
To about
subsequent years?
Yep, 250 for subsequent years.
In total.
Yes. And that should for the 4 subsequent years. So now concerning the fuel-efficient vehicle policy, the way that works is most of the town's vehicles are exempt, I believe, but I can't recall whether all of the school's vehicles are exempt. But if you happen to purchase a vehicle in the future, they ask that the one that it's replacing, the vehicle that you're replacing is as practical and feasible, more efficient than the model that is being phased out. So you don't need to go and purchase all electric vehicles for your fleet or anything like that.
Do we know which 4 vehicles are non-exempt?
Which,
I thought there was 4 vehicles identified that were
Yeah.
non-exempt, I guess,
Yes.
so we,
No, I don't, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, I did not bring the vehicle inventory with me. My expectation is they're probably not all school vehicles.
because the only vehicle
Yeah,
we have is a
yeah,
truck.
we don't, yeah, they're not all school vehicles, that would be townwide.
I think they were more town
so
related
we have
vehicles.
one for the school,
Just the truck.
for the truck, okay.
So I noticed that there are quite a few recommendations within each of the buildings, and our elementary school is relatively new, 4 years, 5 years, I forget how many years at this point. But it's a LEED certified school,
Great.
so, silver, right? So, should that already kind of put us on a good path because it is a LEED certified?
Absolutely, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful step. I'm not do you know when it was constructed and?
2013.
Going on 4 years,
It's
4
on,
years
it's going on
ago.
its 4th year, right?
Okay, so one of the things about this plan is it's expected to evolve as your priorities change and as technology improves. So in 4 years, we've seen a lot of improvements in LEDs and different energy efficient technology. So there do seem to be some opportunities, but the fact that it's already LEED silver is great.
Okay. The 150,000, is that guaranteed?
So the way that virtually yes. So in order, this energy reduction plan is part of a much broader application that we're putting together. So achieving green communities designation, this is one of 5 criteria. And the town we're submitting all 5 of the criteria tomorrow, and I'm quite confident that all of them will be approved. So that is guaranteed as long as you
So
pass.
there's a pool of dollars at the state level that you say that it's competitive. So depending on how many people, how many other towns are competing with us, you might not get as much as 150 the first year.
Oh, so
Is
the
that-
first
is that
year is, the first year is guaranteed.
Okay.
So the way it works is that that's your designation award. So just for achieving that, right? So that is based on no less than $125,000, and then it's grows per capita.
Okay.
So I'm not sure
based
exactly
on
where
our size.
Douglas
Okay.
falls, but it's usually about 150 for towns in this region and size.
Okay. But then the subsequent years for the 250, that becomes a little more competitive, I
Yes.
guess.
So, let's see, for example, I believe last year the Department of Energy Resources, who we partner with on getting these applications in, they received 52 competitive applications and funded 50. So
Okay.
it's,
At the $250,000.
one of
Or-
the, well, yeah.
And on the size of town, is that?
Well, it actually, so I work with towns in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
I administer their grants, and I help them come in for the competitive rounds. And one of the big challenges is finding enough projects to spend that $250,000. When you're talking about a small town, it's,
Gotcha.
yeah, so.
So is this money, is this go to retrofitting everything and to doing all these upgrades? Is that what this money is actually used for?
Exactly. You do, there are also some other measures that you can do. We've had great success combining these funds with other grant programs to get electric and hybrid vehicles, electric vehicle charging stations. So, I mean, this would cover it really entirely, but it even brings the cost down less when you combine it with other grant programs that fit together. But primarily, yes, towns, it's for the energy efficient upgrades and retrofits.
Can we get like the electric company to work with us to do that, or no?
Absolutely, and your electric company is National Grid, right?
Yep.
So their utility incentives are already considered and included in,
Right,
Yeah, this,
in the proposals.
so if you were to do all of the projects on here, this is really more of a menu, but if you were to do all of them, the utility incentives from National Grid would total about $180,000.
I was actually looking for that, Sharon.
yeah.
Oh, you have an extra copy?
I brought them for
Beautiful.
everybody,
Thank you.
sure.
All right, thank you.
So, over the years, we have obviously moved in this direction on a number of different initiatives that we've done within the buildings, more specifically this
Yeah.
building than any other building because of it being a little bit older, and also some things in the primary school as well. So this is something that the school department has been doing, because they realize the benefit of reducing your utility costs and so forth. So a lot of the projects that are in there are all projects that certainly make some sense, and we will have a say as to which initiative we want to move forward with, whether we want to do LED lights in the cafeteria, or specifically, just some changes that we would have a say in it. If I understood what they said to us the other night, Mrs. Zetland, was that we would have some input into the initiative that we will undertake on in conjunction with the town, so that we do have some say in what direction and what things we would like to modify and make changes to. So we do have input in it.
So just to clarify, the 150,000 isn't coming right to the schools, it's going to
Right.
the town.
Thank
Oh,
you.
absolutely.
Thank you.
So is there any reason why we would vote no? I guess this is what I'm trying to find, the no vote.
It does seem to have a pretty positive
I-
Yeah.
benefit to us.
Well, this, I've been doing this 4 years, and it's quickly become my agency's most popular program with our municipalities. In terms of no, I can't really think of any.
Well,
Great.
I guess I might be able to get to that in a
Perfect.
second. Not that I'm going that direction, but I need to understand this a little bit more first. So it looks like we have $1.75 million in total costs for these projects. Are these all the projects required in order to get us the 20%, or is this
No,
less
no.
than
So, this is,
list?
more, this is sort of a menu of options.
Okay.
So
So this will get us more than 20% energy reduction?
this alone would get you 24% energy reduction. But if actually, the state allows you to build in 5% soft measures too. So you wouldn't even have to truly achieve the 20%. So this is more than you need.
Okay, so let's say we did them all, 1.75, we potentially will be getting 1.15 million
Correct.
from the state. Okay, so the place where I could see, no, is if we needed to spend 4 million in order to get a 20% reduction, and we're only getting 1.1
we don't have that.
million, and where are we gonna come up with the extra 3 million to do all this? We obviously don't have that. That's where I could see a no would be, that was my biggest concern, actually, was where are you gonna get the money to do all this stuff, and it sounds like a
But
lot
it's
of it's gonna be
non-binding and
self-funded.
it's over a period of time,
Yes.
And no clawbacks.
so.
So actually, that was my other question. What happens if after 2021, we haven't hit our target?
Well, that has happened in the case of one very large municipality that we serve, and nothing has happened. I don't know whether you will continue to get the I don't know whether they will continue to give you the $250,000 per year until you reach it.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that. My partner at the state, my colleague at the state would better be able
And
to
does the
explain that.
250 or the 150, does it work on a reimbursement basis, or do we get the money and then figure out how to spend it, or do we have to spend it and then you guys reimburse for eligible
So
expenses?
it's dispersed in 4 phases, 3 phases. So the first phase you get once you submit the proper paperwork, the first 25%. Once you've spent that out, then you get the additional 50%. And then once the state has come in and seen that you've completed the remaining 25%, then you get that money. The great thing is that a lot of they're sort of specialized teams that are pre-vetted and have gone through the bidding process with the state. If you happened to choose one of them, they're really good about understanding these cycles and how the disbursements work. So they really work with the municipalities to make sure that they're not killing you with bills while you're waiting for your
Okay,
third allotment.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any further questions? Is there anything else that you think that we should know, or that we missed?
The only thing I had in here, I think, I was looking through the specific projects, and one of the projects just looked like it had an error in the payback years. I think it was the second one under the primary school. It noted like a 6.2-year payoff, but the annual savings were only like $700, if I did the math on the.
It very well could be a
Yes,
typo.
yeah,
I'll check
let's
it,
say
yeah.
it's just a typo,
Sure.
so, but if you look, it was the second one of the primary school, it was like a lighting project. So that one, I think was off. I'm not sure if it's gonna affect anything about how the plan gets approved or anything like that, but,
You're in
Yeah.
good shape all the same, but I'll take a look, thank you. The only thing that I would just like to reiterate is that this is intended to be a living document, so if there's something that going through rubs you the wrong way, or you want to add something, or if you want to work with the schools to even make it more robust, it's yours. So,
I did call last week, Department of Energy Reduction, I think, at DOER.
Resource, Department of Energy Resources.
Energy Resources, that's right, and spoke with them directly to get some clarification, because we were up against a time frame. And so I did try to get some clarification, and it is that this is not binding. We may have another plan that, of something we might want to do, rather than what's in here. We can make an adjustment if we want to. So it does give some flexibility. It is a town-wide, but the reason why
Yes.
we're drawn in is, as Dominique had mentioned, we are a large consumer of energy. So they want us to sign off so that we have, some input into what is going to be done at the schools, but also have a voice being heard by the rest of the town as to the initiative itself.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my understanding as well. And as far as the lighting projects, Jeff and I have been working on those, actually, and we already had plans all set to review with Kevin, although we had to do a lot of back and forth. But then it became, their program actually changed, where it was going to actually cost us money. So this came in a timely manner, so, because there's no way we could have done it.
Right.
So, because they actually changed it, because we've been doing, like you said, we've been doing for years, we've been doing these projects on a regular basis. So it actually worked out well. And like she said, it's definitely my understanding, this is kind of what's here is a menu of options they've come up with thus far, but doesn't mean they can't change. You can't, take some out, put something in that might be better, or maybe be more efficient, or might help to get to that 20% more, and that goes for the town or school side as well.
and you don't have to go through this sort of complicated, can we amend our plan process? If you want, so I administer these grants on an ongoing basis, and it's really just working with the person who's administering your grant to submit the new project, so it's not too onerous.
So,
I'm okay with it. Do we have language for a motion set already, or?
so, I think that I'd be looking for a motion, to approve, Mr. Means signing the Town of Douglas Energy Reduction Plan and
The fuel
the
efficient vehicle
fuel
policy.
efficient vehicle policy.
So moved.
So move,
Does that work? Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so much for having
Thank you,
me,
Dominique.
and
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming in and answering our questions. We appreciate it.
it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me and for doing this.
Thank you, Dominique.
You're very welcome.
I'll just read out loud so that you have an understanding of what's in the letter. So the first letter is, please be advised that the town school district, Douglas Public Schools, adopts the Douglas Energy Reduction Plan as part of the town's Green Communities application for designation. The Douglas School Committee has reviewed and voted to support this initiative, and then I'm just going to sign it, which I will do right now.
Thank you.
Very good.
you can do the same thing for the vehicle one,
Right.
too.
And the vehicle language would read as follows: please be advised that the Douglas Public Schools hereby adopts the attached fuel-efficient vehicle policy, and I'll sign that tomorrow as well.
Very good.
Okay?
How old is the truck in question that we have?
Thank you,
Good
Dominic.
night.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
7 years, maybe?
Probably.
I'm trying to think, did he get it after I came, or was
I think it was before, yeah.
Was it before?
I think it was
thought he got
before.
one after
I want to say it was 7, maybe even 8 years now.
It's probably due to be replaced.
There was a
within
really
the
old one
timeframe
before.
of this
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah, so
It-
that's why I'm
It's, I
thinking
would think it's
that's
getting
why-
pretty close.
Yeah, I don't think it's
I
that
think it's
old.
getting pretty close.
Yeah,
but,
what's his name used to use?
All right, so we will get this information, these signed documents, down to the town tomorrow, because they need to be in by tomorrow, and get them submitted so that we can, they can submit the entire package.
Very
So,
good.
and thank you very much for coming out. I did receive a nice letter from Mr. Wojcik, the town manager, thanking us for being willing to give up our time to come in and get this done, knowing that there was a time crunch behind it. And they really did not want to fall into a following year they wanted to get started on this right away. They have some initial ideas they want to get started on. I think it's some lights in the town lights along the streets and so forth, and some things in the buildings that they want to change out, that they think will help save some money. So he did send a nice thank you, and wanted to thank us for taking the time and to meet tonight.
Very good.
Great.
Thank you. So we don't have any further business this evening, so I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.